And in the first fight on the fight card, we had a really good women's lightweight fight right here. We got Helena Gosik and Taylor Guardado. You look at the record right there, doesn't really look too good. You see 0 wins, 1 loss, does not look too good. You probably are wondering, why do they even invite her to the PFL if she has a record of 0 wins and 1 loss? Well, earlier in her career, back in 2011, in her amateur MMA career, did really, really good, going 9-1, beating Raquel Pennington, Amanda Bell, Ashley Evans Smith, Autumn King, fighting Ronda Rousey. She was doing really, really good back in 2010 and 2011. Joined back in MMA in 2010, got 2 wins, both by decision, then lost 1 fight right here. Instead of Invicta FC, but she does have some really, really good striking as well. 29 and a half years old. When she fought way back in 2011, she was only like 18, 19 years old. I mean, fighting Ronda Rousey that young, absolutely insane. But she's fighting an absolute beast right here. I've watched so much film on this girl, and her nickname definitely fits her right. She's a cannon of her hands. I mean, she's so powerful, and has some pretty good submission skills as well. But she will have the size advantage right here, moving up from the featherweight to the lightweight division, whereas Taylor Guardado is moving up from the bantamweight division all the way up to the lightweight division. But Helena Gosek, 5 wins, 2 losses. Every single one of her wins coming by finish, 3 knockout wins, 2 submission wins, first knockout win, first knockout win, second round submission, first round knockout win, and first round knockout win. I mean, 25 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 seconds, and 48 seconds. All of her knockout wins coming in the very first round. Then fought Pan Sorensen and then Felicia Spencer. But in the fight with Felicia Spencer, she looked really, really good in the striking game. But as you guys know, Felicia Spencer has a really good wrestling and a really good takedowns and submission skills and ground and pound as well. Getting the submission in the second round. But in the striking game with Felicia Spencer, I mean, she looked amazing, landing so many good shots. I mean, she was piecing up Felicia Spencer on the feet, but in the grappling, obviously had the disadvantage in that fight. But obviously, Helena Gosik is going to be the boxer in this one. 100% of her fights being finishes, 4 coming by knockout and 1 coming by rear and naked choke submission. 0 of the fights going all the way. She's trying to get those finishes in this tournament right here. You know that the PFL has a little bit of scoring where you get 6 points if you finish the fight in the first round, like 4 points in the second round, and like 1 point in the third round, something like that. But you get a lot of extra points to the tournament if you finish the fight. And Helena Gosik is one of those girls who has a very good shot. I've actually finishing the fight right here. Not the best submission defense in her last 2 losses, being submitted in the first and second round, but she's so strong in the clinch and has some pretty good takedowns of her own, and solid trip takedowns against the cage. If she gets you down, man, she's got some really, really good ground and pound, and that's the main way she wins her fights. She either knocks her opponent down in the striking game or takes her down near the cage and then lands the amazing ground and pound shots at TKOing her opponent in the first or second round. And good knees in the clinch, very, very good jab to straight left. She's a left-handed fighter and has a really, really good, powerful straight left hand and really good right hand counter. She goes like this when her opponent is going for the right hand. She goes like this and then goes for that right hand. She's very, very powerful, really good straight left and a really good right hand counter. Solid takedown defense as well. We saw in her last fight with Felicia Spencer, she did defend quite a lot of Felicia Spencer's takedowns, but ultimately ended up losing the fight by submission. But really good takedown defense and amazing boxing from Helena Gosik in most of her fights so far outside of the PFL. Taylor Guardado, I mean, she's not really too good. Coming back into MMA just recently. I watched a couple of her last fights. She did not look at all like she did way back in 2011. She really fell off in my opinion. She does not look at all as good as she did way back in the day. She's gonna have a humongous size disadvantage moving up from bantamweight to the lightweight division, which is 20 pounds up in the weight class. Good fake takedown to straight right hand, which means she goes down for the double leg and then stands up and then goes for the right hand. She lands that pretty well in most of her fights. Striking in her last fight inside of Invicta FC honestly did not look too good. I mean, in this fight with Helena Gosik, I mean, she's gonna piece her up in the striking game 100%. I believe if the fight stays on the feet, it's gonna be a very good opportunity for Helena Gosik to get a knockout or a TKO on Taylor Guardado, because honestly, she did not look good in the striking game whatsoever in her last fight inside of Invicta FC. Much smaller in the height and reach department as well. Again, giving her yet another disadvantage in the striking game. game, and then not really the best wrestling or grappling skills as well. So, to be honest, I mean, Helena Gillespie has a really good takedown defense, a really good powerful jabs to straight lefts, good knees in the clinch, a really strong fighter. She's a finisher 100%, has a lot of knockouts, a lot of submission wins. I mean, there's just no way I'm not going to go with Helena Gillespie. I mean, her boxing is so good. Her clinch is so good. Her takedown defense is so good. So, every factor is pointing towards me to believe that Helena Gillespie is going to win the fight, probably by knockout or TKO in the first or second round. I know she wants those points because if she wins the fight and then wins one fight after that, if it just so happens that other fighters in this PFL tournament get finishes in the very first round, she could not be even able to go to the playoffs. So she's going to want to go out there and get a finish in the first or second round. So I think that's exactly what's going to happen over here. Helena Gillespie is going to dominate her in the striking game, either getting knocked out or get a takedown, get her down, and ground and pound the heck out of Taylor Guardado. And in my opinion, I think Helena Gillespie is going to dominate the fight wherever the fight goes and get a TKO win in the first or second round. It should be a really good fight. Who knows? Taylor Guardado could look a lot better. That last fight was 2 years ago instead of Invicta FC. Sorry, 1 year ago instead of Invicta FC, but just not really impressive in my opinion. And I think Helena Gillespie is going to have the advantage pretty much everywhere in the fight. So I'm definitely going Helena Gillespie to win the fight by first or second round TKO. After that, guys, we have a really good women's lightweight fight. Caitlin Young and Cindy Dandois, completely different fighters right here. Caitlin Young, 100% going to be the striker, 11 wins, 10 losses, and 1 draw. Not really the best record he's right here, almost a losing record so far, but she does have a lot of power in her hands, with 8 knockout wins and 3 decision wins, fighting some really good competition in her career so far, beating Misha Tate, fighting Gina Carano, fighting Jennifer Tate, fighting, who was the other person? Leslie Smith, Liz Carmouche, Leslie Smith again, Lauren Murphy, I mean, Raquel Nakanuto, all these girls inside of the UFC, inside of Invicta FC, Pam Sorensen as well. She's fought a lot of really good competition, and so has Cindy Dandois. They're both 36 and 35 years old. A little bit of a reach advantage and a little bit of a height advantage there for Caitlin Young in the fight. But Cindy Dandois, her wrestling, her grappling skills, amazing. She gets you down, she submits you, she TKOs you, whatever the case may be. Coming off of 4 submission wins in a row. Second round arm lock, first round triangle, and a first round rear naked choke submission. Fighting girls like Alexis Davis, Tanya Evinger, and Yana Kuniskaya. And then beating Sheila Gaff at the beginning of her MMA career. You look right here, 5 knockout wins, 8 submission wins, and only 2 fights going all the way. She's also a finisher. Both fighters have a lot of wins coming by knockout and a lot of wins coming by submission. I think 100% in my opinion, this fight is like a 40% chance, possibly a 50% chance that one of these two girls gets a knockout in terms of Caitlin Young, or we get a submission win in terms of Cindy Dandois. Both girls have really good wrestling, really good submission skills, and a really good power in their hands. But you look at Caitlin Young, obviously going to be the striker in the fight. Going to want to keep the fight on the feet 100%. She will have the advantage. She has a lot of power in her hands with 8 knockout wins so far. 0 submissions though. She doesn't really show much of a submission or grappling game in her fight so far. If you look at how she's losing her fights, it's mainly to really good grapplers like Pam Sorensen. Lauren Murphy's a really good grappler. He's a decent grappler. Liz Carmouche, a decent grappler as well. Most of the losses that she's gotten to really good wrestlers, really good grapplers, just taking her down, ground pounding her and getting the submission win. So that is definitely going to be a disadvantage for Caitlin Young in the fight, considering Cindy Dandois is a really good wrestler and a very good grappler. I mean, you look at Cindy Dandois, a lot of experience. I mean, I already went over all the girls she's fought. I mean, Megan Anderson in her last fight, absolutely insane. Amazing judo and jiu-jitsu skills as well. Getting her 8 submission wins on her record so far. Those judo and jiu-jitsu skills are going to play a humongous factor in this fight 100%. She's actually trained by a former world judo champion and amazing at getting you down, smashing you, and then submitting you. I mean, she's so good with her judo skills, with her wrestling, with her submission skills, decent striking skills, but obviously just trying to use those striking to get the fight in the clinch and ultimately get the takedown and then try to get the submission or the TKO on the ground. Main way to win the fight: grapple, wrestle, and then get the submission win. So either way, I think Caitlin Young has a humongous chance to get a knockout with a right hand in the fight, and then Sidney Dandois has a humongous chance to get the fight to the ground, get the fight in the clinch, get the fight down as soon as possible, then get a submission or a TKO win in the first or second round. I think it's very, very likely we see a finish right here, probably 50-50 in my opinion, but overall, I think the fight will go all the way. Sidney Dandois, amazing wrestling, amazing grappling. I think she will get the fight to the ground as soon as possible, get her down and ground and pound and grapple for 3 straight rounds, and ultimately, I've seen Sidney Dandois winning the fight by 30-27 unanimous decision. Amazing heavyweight fight right here. I want to say it right now, I do not agree with these Tapology predictions. You look right here, 97% going Ante De Liha to win the fight, mainly by KO TKO, and then a lot of people have him winning the fight by unanimous decision. I'm going to say right now, I do not agree with that big of a swing going for Ante De Liha to win the fight. Obviously, I'm going to be going with Ante De Liha to win the fight, but if you look at Bruno Henrique Capazola, never count out this man. 10 wins, 5 losses, and out of those 10 wins, first a knockout, third a knockout, and every single one of his wins coming by knockout win. 10 knockout wins on his record. I encourage you, look up the fight with Jiri Prochazka. I mean, he ended up rocking Jiri and ended up almost knocking out Jiri with a jab. He has so much power in his hands, but ended up losing the fight by first a knockout. He either gets a knockout or himself gets knocked out. You look right here, 2 knockout losses, 2 submission losses, and then 1 DQ loss. So every single one of his fights, win or loss, being a finish in the first or second round, absolutely insane. But Ante De Liha, I'm gonna have a height advantage and a reach advantage in the fight, and definitely is gonna be having a size advantage in the fight, being a natural heavyweight fighter. Whereas Bruno Henrique Capazola is moving up from the light heavyweight to the heavyweight division. Ante De Liha has 17 wins and 3 losses. Also has a really good striking, really good power in his hands, really good ground and pound as well, and some really good submission skills as well. 7 submission wins, 6 knockout wins, and 4 decision wins. Recently coming off a second round knockout win, a decision win, and another decision win over Ricardo Pressel, only losing to Marcin Arbora by leg injury, and then 1 submission win right here to Dennis Moldariev and then Dean Starling right there. Both fighters with really good power in their hands, really good ground and pound from the both of them, but the wrestling and grappling advantage will be going to Ante De Liha 100%. The power advantage in terms who's most likely going to get a knockout in the striking game would definitely be Bruno Henrique Capazola. I mean, 10 out of 10 knockout wins, absolutely insane. But I mean, they're both beasts. I mean, I put right here, Ante De Liha, he's just an absolute beast. So really good wrestling, really good jiu-jitsu, really good submission skills as well, and a really good power in his hands. I mean, 7 submission wins already on his record. You think that's really surprising, because everyone looking at this fight is thinking either Ante De Liha by TKO or knockout, or Bruno Henrique Capazola by KO or TKO, but most of his wins coming by submission, which was very surprising in my opinion, but very super strong and super powerful as well. Over the top right is one of his best strikes. Really good power, vicious ground and pound as well. An amazing hammer fist on the ground, very strong and really good wrestling and grappling skills as well. Bruno Henrique Capazola is definitely going to be a striker, trying to keep the fight on the feet for the most part and get a knockout in the first or second round. Really hard, fast left hooks, almost knocked out Jiri Prochazka with it. Uses a lot of feints as well to time his shots a little bit better. This is a really good overhand right as well. All of his wins coming by knockout, absolutely insane. Not the best takedown defense. That is the one thing where I give the humongous advantage to Ante De Liha in the wrestling and grappling game, because Bruno Henrique Capazola doesn't really have the wrestling and grappling to defend the takedowns from Ante De Liha, and the ground and pound of Ante De Liha, absolutely insane. But really good outside calf kicks as well, and a super powerful jab, as I said, almost knocking out Jiri Prochazka with it. But again, I don't agree with those Tapology predictions of 97% going to Liha, because there's a humongous chance that Bruno goes out there and gets yet another knockout win. I will be going with Ante De Liha to ultimately win the fight, but that's not going to be for his striking. He obviously has some really good striking skills as well, but I think his wrestling, his strength, his grappling, everything like that is going to play a humongous factor here, and Ante De Liha is going to grapple and wrestle, and ground and pound, and go for some submissions as well in this fight. Get Bruno Henrique Capazola down as soon as possible, and ground and pound the heck out of Bruno Henrique Capozola with elbows, with hammer fists, with the right hands on the ground. I think that's going to be a humongous factor for Ante De Leon in the fight. So much power, so much ground and so much strength and wrestling and grappling from Ante De Leon. So I ultimately will be going Ante De Leon by second round TKO. But again, do not bet on Ante De Leon, especially when you get a knockout artist like Bruno Henrique Capozola on the other side of things, who has so much power in his hands. So ultimately, I will be going to Ante De Leon to win the fight by second round TKO. But do not bet on this fight. That is the only advice I will give for that fight right there. I'll definitely have Ante De Leon winning that fight 100%. After that fight, we have a women's lightweight fight. Larissa Pacheco, probably the only one who really stands a chance in this lightweight tournament against Kayla Harrison. But Larissa Pacheco and Julia Pajic. This fight is a lightweight fight right here. Larissa Pacheco, 26 and a half years old, very tall and very lengthy for the division. But you look at Julia Pajic, talk about tall and lengthy, 6 foot tall for the lightweight division. Absolutely insane. She's so tall, so lengthy as well. 3 wins and 0 losses. Really strong, and only 23 years old. Absolutely insane. 2 knockout wins in the very first round, and then a first round triangle armbar submission. Larissa Pacheco, really good wrestling, really good grappling as well, and there's some decent striking as well. 8 submission wins, only 1 decision win on her record, and then 4 knockout wins. Out of her losses, 2 knockout losses, 1 submission loss, and 2 decision losses. Those 2 decision losses coming in really back and forth fights against Kayla Harrison. Also fighting girls like Macy Chiasson, Jermaine Durandamy, and Jessica Andrade. Absolutely insane. This fight is going to be a really good fight, 100%. Larissa Pacheco, a grappler with very solid striking, amazing submission skills with a guillotine, a triangle, and a couple of armbars from the bottom, but very good submission skills from the bottom from Larissa Pacheco. Good power in the hands, 100%. Knocking out a top 15 bantamweight fighter in the world, and Irene Aldana at the beginning of her MMA career. You look back here, Irene Aldana's first ever loss by 3rd round knockout right there. Absolutely insane. A very good straight right hand. That is her main weapon in the striking game. Good pressure as well. If she gets your back to the cage, she's gonna unload on strikes and ultimately end up landing that big right hand and maybe possibly end up getting the knockout in the first or second round. But really good striking and really good pressure in her fights, and it has some pretty decent cardio as well. Going 5 straight rounds with Kayla Harrison a couple of years ago. She is a blue belt in BJJ and very good top control in her wrestling. Really nice uppercuts as well, but she kind of counters those uppercuts when her opponents come to her. She just goes for the uppercut, and especially in the clinch with the knees to the body and then the uppercuts down the middle. Julia Pajic is definitely going to be a striker, very tall for the division, at 6 foot tall exactly, which is just, I mean, it is absolutely insane. I've never seen anyone in this division over 6 foot tall. Absolutely insane. Solid inside leg kicks and body kicks. Very susceptible to straight right hands. That is one thing I saw when watching some of Julia Pajic's film. She's very susceptible to the straight right hands, and that is one of Larissa Pacheco's main weapons in the striking game. So that is going to be a humongous advantage for Larissa Pacheco in the striking game right here. Not the best wrestling and not the best grappling skills. Mainly just trying to keep the fight on the feet and getting knockout or a TKO in her fight. So I think overall Larissa Pacheco will have the wrestling advantage, the striking advantage, and ultimately landing a lot of good straight right hands in the fight. But I think the striking will be very even. Haven't really got to see much of Julia Pajic striking, only having 3 professional MMA fights, but showing some really good power, really good kickboxing, really good body kicks, really good leg kicks as well. But I think the striking will be very even, with the clear wrestling and grappling skills and advantages going to Larissa Pacheco 100%. I mean, her wrestling and grappling is going to be a humongous advantage here. So I think Larissa Pacheco honestly is just going to wrestle and grapple Julia Pajic in the fight. Maybe kind of feel out the striking and see if she does have the advantage or if she does have the disadvantage in the striking game. But overall, I think ultimately she will go back to that wrestling and grappling in the fight, using her blue belt in BJJ to kind of dominate Julia Pajic in the grappling and wrestling wrestling game. So I think overall, Larissa Pacheco will dominate the fight wherever the fight goes. And I think she will get the fight to the ground and get a submission in the first or second round. Haven't really seen the best submission skills from Julie Hapaji or the best wrestling skills from Julie Hapaji. So I think Larissa Pacheco will get her down in the first round. Dominate her in the first round. In the second round, I get a rear naked choke submission and get that win in the second round of this fight by second round submission. But definitely have Larissa Pacheco win in that fight 100%. After that, guys, I am super excited for this one right here. Justin Willis and Dennis Goltsov. This is a heavyweight fight. Two really powerful punchers. And then honestly a decent wrestler and a decent grappler in Dennis Goltsov. I mean, he has 10 submission wins, 10 knockout wins, and 5 decision wins. Absolutely insane right there. I mean, you look right here, 10 knockouts, 10 submissions, and 5 decision wins. Out of his losses, 3 knockout losses and 3 submission losses. He either finishes you or gets a finish in his fights. You look at his last couple of fights, looked really good against Ali Isaev. I feel really bad because he was winning the entire fight against Ali Isaev. But you look right here, 1 second left in the fight. I mean, I feel bad, man. 1 second left, gets knocked out. Absolutely insane. Before that, doing really good with 3 wins in a row. A first knockout win, a second round, Ezekiel choke, submission win. Absolutely insane. And then a decision win after that. Really good chokes and really good power in his hands and feet with really good head kicks. You look down the list, you see a head kick knockout win. Head kick knockout win. I believe there's one more head kick knockout win. Really solid head kicks and body kicks in some of his fights so far. This is his only spinning back fist knockout win, but every single fight he goes out there and it seems like he's going for a spinning back kick, going for a spinning back kick, a spinning back fist, whatever the case may be. The man, he's just such an elusive striker, 100%, and also has some really good wrestling and grappling skills as well. Justin Willis is 33 years old, a little bit smaller, but a humongous reach advantage and very kickboxing skills from Justin Willis, very big in the heavyweight division, 100%. 8 wins and 2 losses. Started off his career with a record of 4 wins and 1 losses, 4 knockout wins and 4 decision wins, joining the UFC in 2017, getting a decision win, a first round knockout win over Alan Crowder, a decision win again over Mark Hunt, and then losing to Curtis Blades in a dominant grappling and wrestling, grinding performance from Curtis Blades in the fight. But overall, this fight is going to be an amazing heavyweight fight. I really do hope this fight stays in the feet because I want to see how good of the striking Dennis Goltsov is going to have in the striking game with Justin Willis. Considering that reach advantage that he's gonna be possessing in the fight, but it's gonna be a really good fight right here between Dennis Goltsov and Justin Willis, 100%. But Dennis Goltsov, an MMA fighter, can strike and grapple both very well. I mean, I don't know what type of fighter specifically, if he's a Muay Thai, if he's a kickboxer, if he's a grappler, BJJ, whatever the case may be. Honestly, he's just an MMA fighter all around. Everywhere you look at him, he's a solid fighter in every facet of the game. Definitely a finisher with 10 knockout wins and 10 submission wins out of 25 wins on his record. So 80% of his wins not going all the way. Former ACB heavyweight champion. Amazing kickboxing skills and deadly body kicks and crazy head kick KO so far. Really good submissions as well. Really good chokes. I mean, the Ezekiel choke inside of the PFL, absolutely insane. Very tall for the division, but it's going to have a little bit of a solid a solid reach disadvantage for Justin Willis in the fight, but very solid cardio as well from Dennis Goltsov. Very strong for the division and amazing ground and pound. I mean, if he knocks you down with a body kick, with a head kick, whatever the case may be, and gets you down on the ground, he is vicious ground and pound as well, and most likely could finish you on the ground. But really good takedown defense and really good takedowns of his own as well. Really good wrestling and a really good grappling as well. Has very good submissions from the bottom with a lot of guillotines and a lot of triangle submissions from the bottom. But Justin Willis is a striker, 100%. Solid wrestling inside of the UFC with 1 takedown in every single one of his fights, with 66% accuracy inside of the UFC, but not the best takedown defense, which is definitely going to play a factor in this fight, 100%. At only 36% takedown defense, very good power, 4 knockout wins on his record, 100% a headhunter. I looked at every single one of his fights inside of the UFC, and every single time, 90% or more of his strikes were to the head, and then 5% to the body. body, and then 5% to the leg. So he is definitely looking to try to knock you out. I'm not going for the leg kicks, not really going for the body kicks, which I think will definitely be an advantage for Dennis Goldsmith in the fight if the fight goes all the way. Because with the new scoring for the PFL, they're looking at the leg kicks, they're looking at the body kicks, they're looking at the body shots, whatever the case may be. They're looking at the total amount of damage inflicted to all parts of the body. And Dennis Goldsmith will have the advantage there, having much better leg kicks, much better body shots, and everything like that. So I think if the fight does end up going all the way, Dennis Goldsmith will win the fight. Considering he has more weapons to use with the leg kicks, with the body kicks, and everything like that. But Justin Willis is a left-handed fighter and is an amazing, powerful left-hand knockout, and super good at landing at every single one of his fights. But Dennis, I mean, every single one of his fights that I've seen against Southpaws, he's done amazing, and probably is really good at using that head kicks against Southpaws, because they go for the left hand like this, and they leave their head wide open, and he just goes for the right head kick, right across the top of the head, and it works pretty much every single time, especially against Southpaw fighters, which Justin Willis is. So if he can time that head kick knockout win over Justin Willis, after he throws that straight left hand, and then counter it with a straight head kick knockout win on Justin Willis, that'd be an amazing way to win this fight right here. And then some pretty okay submission defense for Justin Willis in the fight. But overall, there will be the height advantage for Dennis Goldsmith. There will be the reach advantage from Justin Willis. There will be the power advantage. Honestly, I don't even know who will have the power advantage, considering they both have a lot of power in their hands and feet in terms of Dennis Goldsmith. But I think this fight has a humongous chance of going all the way. You see right here, I say Goldsmith is going to win the fight by third round knockout, but I've changed my prediction. I think the fight will go all the way, considering Dennis Goldsmith has way more weapons to kind of deal with. The head kick, the leg kicks, the body kicks, the right hands down the middle, the uppercuts, the clinch, the elbows in the clinch, the knees to the body in the clinch. There's so many factors going for Dennis Goldsmith to win the fight, so I ultimately will be going with Dennis Goldsmith to go out there, win the fight in the clinch, win the fight at range in the striking game. He's done a lot of really good kickboxing skills, leg kicks, body kicks, everything like that. So I think overall, there is definitely a chance Justin Willis could get a knockout here with a straight left hand. But overall, I will be going with Dennis Goldsmith to go out there and win the fight by 30-27 on all judges' scorecards, and win the fight by 30-27 unanimous decision. I mean, this fight's a really good heavyweight fight right here. Muhammad Usman and Brandon Sayles. Muhammad Usman, 7 wins and 1 loss, 32 years old, 6 foot 1 inch tall, much smaller than Brandon Sayles right here, who is 6 foot 5 inches tall and almost has an 80-inch reach. Very tall and very lengthy for the heavyweight division, with 5 wins and 1 loss. If you look at his career so far, a lot of knockouts and then a couple of submission wins, 4 knockout wins and then 1 submission win. Muhammad Usman, amazing wrestler, just like his brother Kamaru Usman in the welterweight division, 7 wins and 1 loss. Coming off a decision win in Titan FC. Before that, first on TKO, a couple other decision wins and 2 Kamaru submission wins in the very first round. The really good ground and pound, really good wrestling. Everything about Muhammad Usman really reminds me of his brother Kamaru Usman. Just the striking is not as good as Kamaru Usman's, but his wrestling, his grappling, his ground and pound, everything like that, 100% Muhammad Usman is an absolute beast, an amazing wrestler. I mean, his Kimura submissions are really good, achieving 2 Kimura submissions in the very first round at the beginning of his career so far. He's so strong, especially in the clinch, and he has a really good trip takedowns and a really good double leg takedowns against the cage. A really strong heavyweight fighter as well, being the brother of Kamaru Usman. Amazing ground and pound shots as well, with really short, snappy elbows on the ground. At the beginning of his fights, he doesn't really go for the right hand. He just jab over and over again, to kind of sense the range of his opponents and eventually go for that double leg takedown or get the fight to the clinch. The really good top control as well. If he does manage to get you down, he's gonna keep it there, most likely for the whole entire round, and just ground and pound the heck out of you for the whole entire 5 minutes of that round. All finishes either coming by TKO and ground and pound or submission. So none of his finishes being in the striking game, and mainly trying to take you down, get the ground and pound knockout win or get the submission win. He's trying to smash you on the ground. That's what he's trying to do. But Brandon Sayles, much taller, much lengthier of a fighter, 6 foot 5 inches tall, very powerful, and 4 of his 5 wins coming by TKO, and then an Americana submission win as well. But he is, I believe, 39 or 40 years old, I believe. Yeah, just turned 40 years old around 2 weeks ago. So, And he hasn't fought in like 3.5 years. You look right here, his last fight 3 years ago against a guy that has a record of 1 win and 2 losses. A very solid front kicks to the body. Not really a fast striker, but a very powerful striker as well. He's obviously going to want to keep the fight on the feet, where he might have the advantage, might not have the advantage, but overall does not want the fight to go to the ground because he's definitely going to have a humongous disadvantage in the wrestling, in the grappling, in the strength advantage from an absolute beast in Muhammad Usman, who is really, really good at wrestling. So he's 100% gonna want to keep the fight on the feet 100%, but pretty decent takedown defense, pretty decent submission defense, but it's gonna be super hard for him to defend the takedowns from a guy like Muhammad Usman, who's just so relentless with his takedowns over and over and over again, so strong. The really good double legs, really good trips against the cage, and then amazing ground and pound. I think Muhammad Usman is gonna get the takedown really, really early in the fight. Get him down in the first round, dominate him in the first round, get him down in the second round, dominate him in the second round, and overall, I believe he will most likely get a TKO win in the first or second round. So, my prediction for the last fight on the prelims of PFL Week 3, the regular season, is Muhammad Usman going out there, using his wrestling, his strength, his ground and pound, his submission skills, everything like that, to get the fight on top of Brandon Sales and land a buttload of ground and pound. And overall, Muhammad Usman going out there and finishing the fight by first or second round TKO.